Moving on to topic number 1, though. So, Rob, PlayStation versus Xbox. The first 7 months of their next-gen consoles. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, and X. So we're going to be talking about just a little bit of what their accomplishments have been made over the past 7 months.
The landscape of the...
Their landscapes, exactly. And just to kind of see where they're at right now, right? So PlayStation units sold 7.8 million as of April 28th versus Xbox Series X units sold. Xbox did not share hardware sales recently, but based on release earning figures, it is estimated that about 5.8 million Xbox Series X and S were sold. And that's combined, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So the key here is that these numbers include the X and the Series S. They're 2 completely different consoles, right? Because they're marketing 2 different people, I feel like.
Yep.
Xbox is apparently not worried about these numbers, though. So what do you think about that? Like, the Sony obviously doing great, right, with selling their console, and it's hard to even get right now, but they're still overselling with.
Yeah. Did you get the numbers just now?
I did. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we got 7.8 mil versus 5.8 mil based on earning figures.
April 28th. Yep.
So the PS4 accounting for digital and the disc version is at 7.8, and Series X is 5. Series X and S is 5.8 combined.
Correct.
So here's the thing: is that the PlayStation Digital and the PlayStation No Disc or Disc one is the same console. It's the same thing. It has the same power. Versus X and S, they're not the same thing. No. So I don't know why Xbox is lumping that together. It's the Series X is not in the same playing field as the PS5.
Right. Honestly, I think it is them overshadowing the numbers to kind of bump up those numbers to make it look like it's doing
maybe
better than it really is, in my opinion. Again, I don't know. This is just us kind of talking out our ass just because we don't have the numbers here because Microsoft, they haven't disclosed those. So I think PlayStation did something similar with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Pro where they just bundled both of the sales together. That's a little different because they're kind of the same console, right? Just one's a little bit more higher in specs.
Yeah.
But this one is just drastically, right? So it's interesting, right? They are definitely kind of taking the approach of like, let's combine our numbers and kind of not steer away from giving everybody the full picture here, I think.
Yeah, it is a little weird that they are not giving just like, okay.
But I feel like they've always done that, though. Let me make that clear. I feel like they've never really exposed or given their full numbers, especially since Xbox 360 days. I feel like after that they stopped giving their numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I think the PlayStation is a better console than the Series X is. You know what I mean? And we're gonna go into that in a little details here. And I'm talking like hardware wise, I think it's a better console. That's why I think people, and again, that was the whole thing with like the marketing we were talking about. Mm-hmm. PlayStation 5 marketed says it's like the new sexy thing. Like it's sexy to have a PS5.
Right.
Versus Xbox is just like this big black box.
Right.
Right.
Xbox or Microsoft, they're again
taking a different approach.
They're taking a different approach. They're more focused on an ecosystem. They're more focused on if you land in our ecosystem, you're able to play our games anywhere you want. And that's what they want gamers to have. Whereas PlayStation is kind of the opposite. They're like, no, you need to buy a PS5 to play our games. Otherwise, you're missing out. We are the premier console, so you need to buy our console unless, otherwise you can't play our AAA games. So speaking of AAA games, let's talk about where they're at right now as far as their games. So Sony right now, for exclusives, they have Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Destruction All-Stars, Returnal, Miles Morales, which is also on PS4. So, you can count that, you can't count that, whatever. Ratchet & Clank is coming in June. Xbox, on the other hand, it was kind of hard to pick a. It's kind of hard to find what kind of AAA games they have. So they have Game Pass, which is their streaming their service to kind of give you a Netflix style game, right? Of as many games as you want. They have the Bethesda they acquired Bethesda, yep, exactly, acquisition. And then they have Halo coming soon at some point. We don't know when. That's it. We don't have anything else. Currently right now, there's nothing that you can play on Xbox to kind of
on PS5.
Show that exactly. And nothing to show what Xbox is capable of. So that's always been their issue, right? They don't have games.
Mm-hmm. They did it.
They're working on it.
I think on the 360 days, it was the strongest with their exclusives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. They definitely had games that showcased 360, but then it just kind of started drifting away for some reason.
And I think that's the whole thing too. Is like they're trying to get as many people on board as possible. They want to be like, you can, like you said, you can play on anything you want. You have a Series X, you have Xbox One, you have a phone. Like, we want you to play on everything, right? Yeah. So they're trying. I don't think they're going as hard with the exclusivity. Well, we'll see with Bethesda, but
and I think that's their key player right now. Bethesda Game Pass is also their key figure right now. They're forefront in the gaming industry, but without games, you're not really like. You can't really play.
But they have games. They just don't have exclusive games.
Right.
But they have so many games.
Yeah, they do. I just don't think it's enough to keep them afloat if they don't acquire any more studios, if they don't release any more AAA games, like the Game Pass alone can't help them. I don't think.
I think this kind of gives. There's two different people here. There are people that don't care about Sony exclusives. And if you don't, there's no reason for you to get a PS5. Because I think the Xbox Series X and S is a better value because you're getting Game Pass. Because Game Pass is superior to whatever PlayStation's offering. PlayStation, what is it? Network? Not Network. The
PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus with their free games that they're offering. It doesn't. There's no competition with it. Game Pass is superior. And that's the meat a lot of about Xbox, right? Like that's their secret recipe.
Their bread and butter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas PlayStation, their bread and butter is the games themselves, like the exclusives. If they don't have exclusives, then it becomes like, okay, then now it's preference.
Yeah. So the last 7 months, this is what we have right now. I think Sony is definitely doing a great job. Right? And there's more to come. Again, we have Ratchet & Clank coming out next month. That's another AAA game that's coming out that looks fantastic. They just shown off, they had a, the what's it called? People were able to get their hands on Ratchet & Clank. I forget the term. But, and everyone's raving about it. It looks fantastic. Meanwhile, Xbox doesn't have anything currently. But, games aside, though, let's go towards the UI side of things. So as far as the UI goes, what do you think has the better UI system, the interface?
From what I read, they're both pretty on par with each other as far as like what they offer and how easy they are to use. I think PlayStation takes the edge on it, wins that one out just because it feels more premium.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did a great job with changing it up a little bit too, because PS4, going from PS4 to PS5 UI is a slight difference. There's nothing major in a sense. I thought when they first announced that they were going to change up the UI, it was going to be drastic, but it's not that drastic.
It just looks prettier and
it looks
and
prettier, cleaner, sleek. Yeah, all these fancy words. It's faster, it's snappier, right? That's what we wanted, and that's perfectly fine. But Xbox, on the other hand, basically kept it the same, right? Like, they didn't do anything major, if at all. I don't think they did anything at all to change the UI.
Yeah, the UI is more of like entertainment center-y in that sense. Like, when you go open your smart TV or your Apple TV, you have that hub with like all your apps and stuff like that. That's kind of how Xbox has it.
All the tiles.
All the tiles and stuff like that. Which works. It works perfectly fine because most UIs use that type of,
I will say the UI on PC is not that great for Xbox.
Oh, it's
I think
horrible.
it's terrible.
It's
terrible.
bad. Game Pass on PC is not good.
No.
It's very clunky. It's not pretty. It just, you gotta like search for your stuff. So I think they're gonna fix it up. I think they're really they're doing the numbers to see, because it was in beta before. I don't know if you remember, but it was a beta they were doing. I think they're gonna take the numbers of how many people are actually playing on PC, and then be like, all right, well, we have to put this much effort into PC because we actually have a lot of people on PC playing, us included. That's a big reason why we don't have Xboxes, because we just play on PC.
Right, for sure. And that's the thing. And I think, again, Microsoft has that edge where you can play their console or their games anywhere you want, which is great. We don't have Xbox, but we're still able to enjoy their their games and all their offers that they have, because we're able to play it on our PC. PS4 or Sony can't do that for some reason. So you're limited to just buying their console, and that makes it feel like that premium console that you need to have. So yeah, it's interesting. They're both taking different approaches. Do you think it's too close though? Do you think it's too close to call who's gonna be at the top at the end of this generation? I know it's too early to tell right now, but do you think there's a slight advantage right now on Sony's side? I think so.
I think Sony right now has the advantage. But what I'm afraid of they're doing is they're putting themselves too much in a box, right? They're becoming like this, like super, like, I don't know how to explain it, like put it in words, but it's clear that they're the more premium console, right? Even like their controller. The controller has more tech in it than the Xbox. Xbox didn't really revolutionize their controller. Right. PS5 completely revolutionized their controller. The DualSense is really cool. Like that, the adaptive triggers, yeah, people might not prefer it to Xbox traditional triggers, but those adaptive triggers like really immerse you when you're playing a game like Returnal.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So that's I'm going to give Sony the edge on that. And again, the games, their exclusives are fantastic. They don't have bad exclusives. They never really, you know what I mean? Like I can't think of a bad Sony exclusive. They're all really polished
Days
games.
Gone, that's hard to kind of say because a lot of people love Days Gone, but it didn't do super well, so that's probably one of their more weaker titles.
I think it depends, right? If you want a premium console experience, like a traditional console experience, go PS5. Right? Because it's going to be what the console felt like. You know what I mean? Like PS2, like you have the PS2 games versus Xbox games, right? Like you have those and it's different. Like it's not the same as the other ones. Right. Xbox, if you want more flexibility, I want to say, Xbox is better.
Yeah. And not only flexibility, but the opportunity to play older games that you never experienced before, Sony, that I guess that's where Microsoft kind of has an upper advantage over Sony, because you can play all of their Xbox titles since the first Xbox, what I mean? Whereas Sony, they don't have that, they don't have that ability to play a PS1 game if you wanted to at this point. So
do you think Xbox put all its eggs in a basket on Game Pass?
No, I think they definitely have more up their sleeve, but I think they invested heavily on Game Pass, and it's paying off, right? Like it's doing great for them.
One thing too that we didn't really mention last month that reminds me is that Xbox does not charge you for Xbox Gold anymore.
Right.
Like for multiplayer, like you don't have to. You can play with your friends. It doesn't matter, which is awesome. But
prior to that, you had to purchase, you had to buy. You had to pay for free-to-play games, essentially, right? So if you were playing Destiny or something like that, and it was like a free-to-play game, you had to still purchase gold to play.
I think they did like a switcheroo with subscriptions, right? They were like, okay, well, we want more people playing Game Pass.
Right.
So we're going to start making it more attractive for you to get Game Pass. Whereas like now you don't have to worry about your gold subscription, put it towards your Game Pass subscription. So
exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted you to kind of switch or shift over from gold subscription to Game Pass. So, that was smart.